Hi, this is Happy Bird from happybirdsglitternest.blogspot.com, and today I'm going to show you how to put together these beautiful little baskets. Now, these are shabby chic style, but I made them from the paper party cups that they have at the Dollar Tree. They usually come in a package, 6 for $1, and they have all different kinds of prints on them, but the prints don't matter because you're going to be covering that up with paint, and I'll show you how I did that using a certain type of sponge at the Dollar Tree, and it gave it a lot of pretty texture. And I painted the bottom because I like things to look finished, and so these were very inexpensive to make. And as you can see, I used a couple of the little butterflies that I made a few videos back. So I thought that was nice that I was able to use up some of those. And then of course I have to make it look just as pretty on the back, so I added a little rose on both of these. I would love to hear your ideas below in the comment section. What would you put in these? I thought maybe if it was a Christmas theme or something like that, putting in some glittery bottles of nail polish. I thought maybe some fun-sized candy bars, maybe stand them up in here, and maybe some of the coffee K-cups or something like that. There's a lot of different ideas, and like I said, you can decorate these, you know, according to the theme for birthdays, showers, Mother's Day, just anything you'd like. And so I hope you give this a try, and stay tuned, and I'll show you exactly how I put these together. Okay, I almost forgot to tell you, before we move on to the tutorial, last week I posted a tutorial for the sparkly scrappy ribbon beads, and I directed you to a seller on Etsy by the name of the Bead Goddess, who sells these 10mm acrylic gold bead caps. Well, she's currently out, however she has reordered more, so keep checking back on her Etsy store. And it does look like there's a place you can message her too, so you might want to let her know that when they do come in that you're interested. So with that said, let's make those baskets. Okay, so to start, you're going to need one of these party cups that you can pick up from the Dollar Tree, and it doesn't matter what the design is because that's going to be covered up. Alright, so I'm going to use that. And then you might want to pick up some of these little scrubber sponges. Now I cut these up into little squares, and they're the cheaper sponge. It's not the real sponge, if that makes sense. And that makes a really nice texture, so you can see it up close. So I'm going to use that. And I'm just using one of the vinyl gloves that I bought in a package, 10 for $1 at the Dollar Tree. And if you need to do some cleanup, these are really great. They're thick, they're super moist. They're called Huggies Simply Clean Wipes. They're fragrance free, and you get these at the Dollar Tree. Okay, so I'm using the Folk Art Home Decor chalk paint in Cottage White. Okay, and I already poured some on my paper plate, and I'm going to dip my little sponge into it. I like using pastel colors or white because it makes the decorations that you put on the basket really pop. You can see them very well. And you're just going to give this 2 coats, but you're just going to start out doing this. It's very easy. Now, you don't have to do the bottom, but I like to do the bottom because I just think it really makes it look finished. And one thing you'll find after you paint this and you allow it to sit overnight is that the cup actually seems stiffer than it already is with the paint on it. This covers really well the chalk paint, but I'm still going to give it 2 coats just for the heck of it. Okay, so as you can see, I finished painting this cup and it's totally dry. And what I did was I put a second coat on within a few hours of the first coat, and then I just allowed it to dry completely overnight. Now, for the top part, I did not paint the inside here. I just took my little paint sponge and just went like this and dabbed around the top. And if you need to clean up the edges on the inside, just take one of the little Huggies wipes that I told you about and just kind of do this and wipe along the inside edges before it dries. And underneath, I painted this. What I couldn't reach with a sponge, I just took a little paintbrush, went around the edges like that. Same with here underneath the lip, I went like that. So this is going to be covered up anyway, but I just like everything to be nice and neat. So with that said, we will start the fun part, and that is decorating this. Okay, so to start, please keep in mind that you can decorate these little baskets a million and one different ways. You don't have to do it this way. I'm just showing you one way you can do it, okay? Now, I did pick these up for $2.99 at Hobby Lobby. These are chenille stems, but if you look closely, they're a little different. They are spiral, and underneath here it says Spiral Chenille Multi, okay? And these were $2.99, and so I'm going to be using one of the white ones for now. And I'll probably save the red and green ones for Christmas. Okay. Then I'm going to take this trim that I found at Hobby Lobby in the sewing section. And this is called Pink Opal. It's 4mm. And it's $2.99 for 24 feet. But I did purchase this for half price. If you wait and watch their sales at least twice a month, they'll have all of your trims and ribbons on sale for half off. So that's when you grab these. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim a little bit of this fuzz off here. Just a little bit. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's not a huge deal, but I just like things to look nice. Well, that didn't help much, did it? Okay. Well, I'm not real worried about it anyway because it'll be glued down in the end. It's just the OCD in me coming out. Okay. Now, this is something you haven't seen me use in a while, my hot glue gun. I've been using the Fabri-Tac quite a bit, but we need this today because I want to make sure that it's on there and it stays on there. Put a little bit at the tip, and I'm not worried about how it looks because this will be glued down on the inside of the cup, okay? We're going to be rolling it like this. Okay, I'm just going to let that dry for a second. So basically, you just want a starting point. Okay, so now we're going to roll it take your time with this. You want it fairly close together. And you don't want to be in any big hurry, because believe me, it'll be well worth it by the time you get to the end. And you see how I'm just turning this chenille stem? Just like that. And if you don't want to use the pink, you can use another color. And I'm thinking about making up some vintage paper cup baskets for Christmas. Yes, I'm thinking about Christmas because in 2 months I'll be beginning to post Christmas videos once a week. So they have to, I have to think about them. So if that sounds like something you might like to see, the vintage, how to make vintage Christmas baskets out of these, I can show you. Just let me know in the comments section if it's something you'd like to see, or if you would just like me to pass on that. Okay, we're getting there. Almost to the end. Okay, so we're almost to the end, so I'm going to place some glue like that on both sides. Alright, now I'm going to just hold it just for a second. Alright, now I'm going to cut this, trim this off here. Alright, so it's cool enough where I can kind of touch it a little bit now. Alright. I don't know what happened here, but I'm going to cut that off. Looks like a little defect. That's strange, because I haven't seen a lot of defects on these beads. Okay. Alright, so if you look at it, I think it turned out really pretty. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do this. We're just going to bend it like this. And you see this line on the back of your cup? Right there? Make sure you can see that line on the inside and you have it facing towards the back, because that will kind of help you guide as to where you're going to place this. I know that sounds strange, but it really does help. That way you have everything on the front. If you didn't have any line here to help kind of show you where things are, you could kind of go off to the side by accident when decorating this. So that's important to have that line on the back. Alright, so I think about here is good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hot glue gun and I'm going to start just on this side, and I'm going to run a line all the way up, and then just place this here, and you need to run that line all the way up so it'll be nice and sturdy. Now I'm just going to let it cool for just a second, and then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, and don't worry about adjusting this until afterwards. Alright, well, here I go. I'm going to go up and place this right against here. And that should hold nicely. Okay. Okay. Not sure if you can see it. you can make adjustments just by doing that. Alright, so here we have it. And so now, what we're going to do next is we're going to be placing trim around the edges, okay? So hold on. Okay, so for this part, I'm going to be gluing on some of this AB chain here. And this is the chain that was left over from last Christmas where I showed you how to make your own embellishments. Now the company said this is 4mm, but honestly when I measure it, it's more like a 3.5mm. So I would say to use between a 3mm and 4mm, somewhere in between there. Okay, and of course you don't have to start with the rhinestone, but I'm just starting with this right around here. And this little seam at the back, that's where we're going to start. And we're using the Fabri-Tac, okay, the Beacon Fabri-Tac. You can find this on Amazon, Walmart, just about anywhere, Hobby Lobby. Now we're using this instead of the hot glue because if we need a little bit of time to adjust things, we can. If you use the hot glue gun, it's going to grab on pretty rapidly and may not give you enough time to kind of wiggle things around and get things straight, okay? And this holds really well, so I'm not worried about it, and it dries clear. So I'm just going to go about maybe halfway around, and I'll lay this down right here under the lip. Okay. Just a little at a time. And okay. Yeah, then I can cut that extra link off. Okay. Now, see, it'll give you a little bit of time to wiggle it around and adjust it if you need to. Not too long, but enough where you can kind of push this here or move that further down there. Okay. So this is what we have for the top. So for the next row, let me get some of this glue off the top of this bottle here first. Okay, so for the next row, I'm going to be using some more of this pink opal chain, and I'll place this right underneath here, okay? And I'm starting at the back. All the way down there. Okay. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to wipe some of this glue off the top of my bottle. Okay. And let me tell you guys, it is a lot easier to wrap this chain around this cup when you're not hugging a camera like me at the same time. So I just wanted you to keep that in mind. Alright, and go all the way around, just like this. Okay. Now, finish off. Scissors. And here we go. All right. Just perfect. Okay. I think it's better when you start with a row of rhinestone and then add the pearls. With this project here, I did the pearls then the rhinestone, but I think that it just evens up things a little more when you use the rhinestone first. I'm not sure why, but it just seems to be that way. Okay, now if I wanted to, I could add another row of rhinestone like this. I'm not sure if I want to do that yet, so I'm going to hold off on that. But I do know that I want to put a row of pearls down here at the bottom. Now the easiest way to do this that I found is, of course, we always start here with where the seam is, but just put some glue here at the bottom. Run it all the way around and sit this down and just press against it like this. And the reason why you want this sitting is because then it'll be perfectly even. And I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and measure this out first. That would also be very helpful. Okay. So now I just have to deal with this one little piece instead of it being attached to the roll. Okay. Then sit this down. And there we go. So just kind of press this down like this so it's nice and even. Okay, see? So there we go. And it looks really nice. Okay, so now before I go any further, I'm just going to allow this to completely dry. It shouldn't take too long, but I'm going to give it at least a few hours, and then we'll be back. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to glue on our little flowers. And I purchased these Prima flowers from Hobby Lobby. They're right next door to where all the Tim Holtz stuff is for scrapbooking. Now, I did not pay $5.99. I paid half that price. I always wait for them to go on sale and then I grab them. And these little flowers are also Tim Holtz. They had quite a few in the package for this one. And so I'm going to be placing the larger one, which is about an inch or 25 millimeters. It won't say that on the package, but I measured it and that's roughly what it is. And these are roughly 20 millimeters. Okay, so we have 25 and 20. They don't have to be exact, but it'll give you kind of a rough idea of how large these are. Okay, so I'm going to be placing some hot glue on the back. You could use Fabri-Tac, but this will bond it instantly. Now look at your seam on the back, and you can kind of see where the very front will be. Okay, and put that in the middle like that. All right, and then get some of this off my hands. You're going to place the smaller ones kind of at an angle. I'll show you what I mean. Just like that. And then place this one here, okay? This one right here. When you have 3 flowers, it's very pleasing to the eye in odd numbers. So we have 3 flowers here. Okay. So next we're going to be gluing on some pearls. We're going to put 3 pearls here and maybe 3 pearls there. Okay. The pearls are about 8mm to 9mm roughly. So if you use either one of those sizes, it'll be fine. So I'm going to start with, I think I'll start with a pink one. These are acrylic, so they're super lightweight. Put a dab of hot glue there. And then place this on, like so. You could do it on the pearl, but I don't know, I just kind of felt that might be a little easier. I might be wrong. You do what you feel is best for you. So I'm not an expert by any means. I'm just showing you how I did a certain thing. But you may have a better way. Okay. Now you could use no hole pearls too. And then you won't have to worry about making sure the holes are not on top. So, you know, you could use those, but these will work out just fine, I think. And I'm going to do the same thing I did here in 3s, right here on this side. Okay? I'll start with a pink. And then put the mint colored one here. And then lastly, the white one here. I purchased the white pearls from Dollar General. They have a bag of them hanging up in the craft section. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to glue on 2 small sparkly embellishments. They can be, I would say, anywhere from, well, I think a good size would be about a 12mm, but I'm going to see what I have in there, okay? And then I'll be back. Okay, so I found these little rhinestone sew-on buttons in my stash, and these are approximately 10 inches wide by 14 inches in height, okay? So they're a little larger than 12mm in height, but I can make that work. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of nestle this just like this, okay, on this side first. So I'm going to take some of my hot glue and do just that. You don't have a whole lot of wiggle room time. Okay, and with this one down here, I'm going to nestle this one kind of upwards like this, okay? Some hot glue on there. Like so. Okay, so this is what we have. Like that. Okay, so now for the actual flowers. I'm using Stickles, and it's called Diamond. You can use any type of iridescent glitter glue you would like, but I just like putting a little extra sparkle on those flowers. Now, it may look like I'm putting a lot on, but I'm not, because once it dries completely, it will shrink. And then you'll see that when it shrinks, it lays flat. And I'm just putting some along the edges, and I'm going to do the same thing here on this one. Now this, I'm sure, will dry for overnight. The Stickles, it's pretty, but it's not super fast as far as the drying time, but it is very pretty once it does dry. So I'll just do this. Like that. Okay. And you'll see that it really will give it that boost that it needs. Okay? Now, if you would like, you could add a few more leaves here or there. I might add a leaf or two on here. And you can pick these, this little leaf vine up at Hobby Lobby in the wedding section for $2.99. They also have this on a roll where the trims are in the sewing section, and I believe it's about the same price, maybe a little cheaper. I'm not sure, but I know it wasn't expensive. But if you want to add, you know, an extra leaf here or there, you can just cut it off the vine here. And just add just a smidgen of hot glue. Yeah, there we go. Like that. And maybe a couple of leaves down here. All right. Okay. Yeah, so I think I'm just going to do this one instead of putting two right here. I think one will be fine. All right. So you can use anything you want. Let me put this camera up here a little bit. As far as decorating the top here, you can use a little lace bow trim if you want. Glue that on top, put some sparkle on it. But I decided, since I had made up some butterflies, and I might want to use one of those. And I showed you guys 3 different ways to decorate these butterflies that you punch out, and I added a charm to them. I could use this, which is kind of a mint green. That's pretty. Or one of these I made out of the gold. And yes, if you're new, I do have all 3 of these videos on my playlist. Okay, that's just a plain color. And we've got so many different things we could use. I would love to make a lavender basket. That would be so pretty. I'll have to buy some lavender paint though, because I don't have any lavender in there. I only have a metallic purple in there, and I never use it because it's kind of on the dark side, and I tend to craft more with pastels during the year. There's a pink one here too that would go lovely, but you know, I'm really partial to mint for some reason, so I think I'm going to use this butterfly and lift this up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right down here towards the bottom. I don't know if you saw me do that, but it's right here. And I'm going to put it on this side here. I'm going to kind of hold it for a second or two till it grabs. I'm kind of doing it off to the side, tilted a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to add something to the back just to make it pretty, like maybe a little flower or something, a little rose, just because I like things to look just as pretty on the back. Maybe I'll just go ahead and add another one of those little roses that we attach to the front. And then I'll just add some stickles to that. Okay. Alright. There we go. So I'm just going to add a little flower to the back. And I know it won't cover up all the wings, but I think it'll look really pretty. And I think when I can lay this flat, I'm going to add some stickles to this. Okay. So all I did was take some of these white shreds from the Dollar Tree, and you don't need much at all. And I just put the shreds in here so it covers up where we glued the handles in the basket in here. Okay, now you don't have to use white. The only reason I bought white is because I didn't know at the beginning what colors I was going to paint on these cups, and so I just got something that would match everything. So I hope you really enjoyed this and that it gave you some inspiration. And thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and God bless each and every one of you, and have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.